My name is Lily Pierce. I have a disability. Hi, my name is Lily Pierce. I talk about life with. Hi, my name is Lily Pierce. I make videos about life with a disability, and my disability, Friedreich's ataxia, affects my speech. As you've likely already noticed, you'll see that the sun coming through the windows today is kind of dim, and that's because it's very early in the morning right now. So hopefully I am as high energy and ready for this as usual. I'm not usually one to get up super early of my own accord, but I couldn't sleep that well last night, so the universe had other plans for me. I want to tell you about something that happened to me recently on social media, and use that as a segue to talk about pity versus positivity, especially in the context of disabled people. So recently, my trainer took some videos of me working out, and he shared them on Instagram and Facebook. Later, I'm looking on my phone, gonna see who's reacted to it. Maybe that sounds shallow, but the literal point of social media is to get attention. So whatevs, I admit it, I like attention. So I'm looking at the reactions and I see that one of them is a sad face. And I'm thinking to myself, who would react with a sad face to a video of a person kicking butt at the gym? And you probably know where this is going, but let me go on a quick rabbit trail. The person who left that reaction just randomly happened to be someone that I went to high school with. Really? 10 years later and I could have ended up obese and completely let myself go. But no. I'm out here living my best life and looking good while doing it. That's sad to you? If you know who I am enough that it made you sad to see that I ended up in a wheelchair, then wouldn't you also remember the fact that I walked funny in high school? And this very petty part of me is thinking to myself, if you snickered behind my back because I was different back then, how dare you show me some kind of fake sympathy now that I've turned out well in spite of an adolescence full of mockery and judgment and misunderstanding. But I don't know if that person actually laughed at me or was one of the ones who made fun of me, so perhaps I shouldn't assume the worst. Then again, it seems like a somewhat safe assumption because kids are mean. But back to the point and back to my earlier question. Obviously, that would be an extremely weird reaction to have to a video of an able-bodied person doing a workout. So clearly, my being in a wheelchair is what caused this person to react with sadness, with pity. Apparently, for some people, maybe for a lot of people, probably for a lot of people, the sight of a wheelchair user is depressing in and of itself. Whether I was at the cardiologist because I was having chest pain, and I'm sitting in the picture in my wheelchair with all those sticky things on my chest that they use to take an EKG, or whether it was a picture of me rolling down a beautiful garden path, surrounded by flowers blooming as my hair blows in the gentle summer breeze. Whether I was in the picture sitting in my wheelchair looking up at a flight of stairs that I'm supposed to climb to get to my destination, or whether it's a video of me sitting in my wheelchair doing dumbbell exercises. No matter what, same emotion. Sadness. Oh, the humanity! That poor, pitiful girl. She looks miserable. Yeah. But this did get me to thinking about toxic pity versus toxic positivity. Because, as with everything in life, we should acknowledge the nuance. So on the one hand, there is, of course, toxic pity. Although, realistically, pity is probably perceived negatively regardless of the context. If someone says, "I pity you," that feels a little insulting, could make you feel some type of way. Because there's this connotation of superiority, like they're looking down their nose at you. In the context of disability issues, toxic pity is feeling instant sadness when you see someone in a wheelchair, regardless of the situation. Of course, disability and chronic pain and sickness and all that jazz are pretty dang crappy. But if a disabled person is doing something fun or has accomplished something or is just generally enjoying their life, you should be happy for them like you would with anybody else. We are just people at the end of the day, you know. And something I repeat often is that we all have baggage. Mine might be heavier and a lot more visible than most people's, but no one's life is perfect. We're all just trying to find joy and purpose, despite our circumstances and whatever hand that we were dealt, okay? However, this is where the nuance comes into the picture. I don't want to be obtuse, because in a very real sense, it is a negative thing that I ended up in a wheelchair. It is a negative thing that I have a disability. So let's discuss the other end of the pendulum for a moment. Toxic positivity. In this context, toxic positivity is trying so hard not to pity disabled people, trying so hard to make it seem like being disabled is fine, that you actually kind of gloss over the reality of being disabled. If that didn't make sense, let me explain a little bit further. Let's talk about the term differently abled. I am okay with that term if someone is using it to essentially say what I've already said, that we all have baggage. Recently, my friend with back problems made the statement that we're all differently abled. And I get that, because most of us have some kind of health issue. Bad knees, an old injury that flares up occasionally, migraines, poor eyesight, something. So in that sense, it's true that we're all a little bit differently abled. But, big but, where I take issue with this term is when people are using it to shy away from using the terms disabled and handicapped. There are people who say things like, she's not disabled,
she's just differently abled.
It doesn't quite sit right with me. No, I'm not just differently abled. I am disabled. I am handicapped. And I know the people who say this are well-meaning and they just don't want disabled people to feel like there's something wrong with being disabled. They don't want disabled people to feel less than. I get that sentiment and I appreciate it. But honey, it's okay. I can handle the truth. I am disabled. I lack abilities. And while there's nothing wrong with being disabled, there is something wrong with me. I have Friedreich's ataxia. And I think that keeping it 100 and being honest and even doing what I do in this channel and sharing my vulnerability, that kind of approach will eventually lead to more strides with accessibility and fundraising and all those important things. Plastering a superficial smile over the situation only minimizes how badly we need a treatment or a cure. So allow me to reiterate, I have FA! I'm disabled! This disease sucks! Please donate to curefa.org. We need an antidote for this ish. So let's recap. Pity and positivity can both be toxic. Yes, disability sucks, and there's no need to sugarcoat it. But if a disabled person has realized that life doesn't have to be perfect to be wonderful, just cheer them on. Every single person is fighting numerous battles. You just happen to have front row tickets to one of mine. Now I'm sure there's so much more to say on these topics, but I was just trying to hit the high spots here. So anyways, thank you so much for dropping by. Hope you'll like this video and hope you'll subscribe to my channel. Really appreciate you watching to this point of the video. And otherwise, have a great day and God bless you all.